It's showing 0 again. Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Knit Chat Cafe for our regular Tuesday evening get together where Kelly and I usually don't knit. At least I don't.
I might.
But we hope that everybody else is knitting. So anyway, we are a knitting podcast coming to you from Southwestern Ontario. My name is Noelle and this is
Kelly.
And yeah, it was actually, I didn't think today was as hot as they said it was going to be.
It's stinking hot.
Did you?
Yes. So
I didn't think it was that bad. I went for a walk this morning with my daughter-in-law and Penelope. And I mean, I was sweating by the time we got back, but I like warm weather.
So like a week ago, we were in a heat wave.
Oh, I know.
On the weekend, we were back to sweater weather. And today we're back into like Hades. Seriously. It's hot. It's stinking hot today. But
anyway, I know because we were at a wedding on Saturday and it was on an outdoor rooftop in Toronto. It was cold. It was cold. It did not feel like it was June something. And Ross had not told me, seriously, he had not told me that we were going to be outside. I mean, I could have brought a lot of shawls. As it was, I just brought this little wee flimsy thing that was just decorative. And I thought, I could have had my pressed flowers or something that actually kept me warm, but
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, hi everybody that's here. We're glad that you could join us. We'll just go through and say a quick hello to everybody. I noticed there was quite a lot of people in here chatting before we got started. And Annette, you were here really early today. So thank you for getting everything started for us. So we've got Annette, we've got Janie, we've got Maureen, we've got Susie, we've got Elaine. We've got Trudy and Ramona and Jan, and we've got Carol and Irene and Lise and Susie and Barbara and Sue and Denise, Sharon, Linda, Shelley, Jermaine. We've got Petra, Emily, Kristen, Gail. We've got another Irene. We've got Cindy. We've got Lucia. We've got Gwen. We've got Bridget. We've got Luana. Sharon, Cindy, let's see who else we've got here. We've got Yvonne, we've got Bonnie, we've got Lorraine, we've got Scylla, we've got Shirley. Hi, Shirley. Shirley knew I was going back to
the knitting loft.
What's the knitting store? The knitting loft. Anyway, Shirley, I missed you. It was so much fun being there with you, but I still managed to spend money on my own. So. And let's see, we've got Cindy, we've got Kathy, we've got Maurice, Beth, Teresa, and Jane, Linda, Laura, Klaska, Nicole. We've got Teresa, Bonnie, Patsy, Jackie, Debbie, Lisa, Sheila and Sheila. We've got Mary, we've got Bobby. We've got Cricket. We've got Marnie. We've got a lot of people in here. So welcome, everyone. We've got Marianne, Sherry, Gail. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But we can go through this all night and I still wouldn't get through everybody. But welcome, everybody.
Who knew there were so many names? Who knew?
I know. The Romper Room Mirror never said that many names. Never.
No, she didn't. I was just reading a few of the comments. And there's some people in here that are working on the Get Shorty Ribbed socks or getting ready to work on them. Sue is, and also she's finishing her ranunculus. And who else was I looking at? Oh, Gwen. Gwen says hello from sunny Montana, and she used my rounded toe method and she loved it. So it's good to hear that we actually suggest something that somebody likes.
Somebody likes.
Yay. That's a win. That's a win.
I usually always do a rounded toe, but I really want to try that anatomical toe one time where they're kind of curved, so they curve up towards your big toe. So I'm going to try that sometime, but I always get to the end of a sock and I just want to get it done. So I do my rounded toe that I always do. But I might try that sometime.
Okay. So that's the thing. I have that shaped foot. My big toe is longer than all the other toes. And my entire life, I wished I had that perfect, like the flat across foot, where the big toe is not the biggest toe in your foot. So I like to do the rounded toe, and I trick myself into believing that my toe is actually that shape. But it's not. It's not.
Well, I have really bad bunion problems, so I need to knit a little extra pouch there.
You need a side. You need a side toe. I'm laughing at Brigitte's comment too. She wonders what everybody will order after Knit Chat tonight. And she said that her mohair has arrived. Her marled sock yarn is on the way.
Okay, well, just wait, you guys, till you see what I might have had, like a sort of little major shopping expedition.
I think I'm just going to tie a handkerchief across my eyes.
I don't want
to see what you bought, because then I just feel like I'm going to need it, and I don't. We know I don't.
Well, you know what? I was at the knitting loft, and Ross was actually there with me, and he was so good. He just, like he sat in a chair. I don't mean it like
Ross,
that.
He sat in the chair.
But I mean, it wasn't like, so he was actually talking with Bruna that works there, because he was looking for a Home Depot that was near the area, because he couldn't find something that he needed for his job. He couldn't find it in Sarnia. So his partner had kind of asked him if he'd look for it. Right. So she was giving him directions, and I'm like, yeah, go to Home Depot. I'll be here when you get back. So
yeah, take your time. No hurry.
So no, he was fine. And I was probably there for a couple of hours. Like, he wasn't impatient or like, let's go, or no, he was fine. So
wow,
made it very enjoyable. So
Laura's working on a couple of shift cowls, one for herself and one for a holiday gift. That would be, wouldn't that be an amazing gift to get?
It would be. I really want to try that new one of Andrea Mowry's, that Inclinations cowl. Mm-hmm. Like, I see everybody knitting it. Last night I was watching Full Moon Fibers, and they were making it, and they were doing it in some of their eclipse fingering with the black going through it. And it looked really amazing. So I might have to try that. But first I got to finish up some of my whips, because it seems like I keep starting things. So got to do some finishes, got to get some finishes going. So. All
right. Some more people popped in. Sarah popped in. Julia popped in. Cherie popped in.
And
Denise from New Zealand.
And Linda. And yeah, so.
Okay, so
welcome everybody.
If it's your first time joining us, an extra welcome, because you found us. We had some comments this week. People were wondering where to find us, because they've heard about Knit Chat and they wanted to join in the great fun that we're all having in here. So if you're here, you obviously found us. But if you're worried about missing Knit Chat, there is a little bell on our page on YouTube. If you click on the bell, then that gives you a little reminder. And
if you do that, then don't you get like the half an hour reminder before
you get the half hour warning bell to get to Knit Chat? And hopefully we'll show up on time. And the half hour is a good reminder, because yes, of course I subscribe to our channel, and it reminds me too that I need to be somewhere in a half an hour. So I like that. So please subscribe. And if you're watching tonight, hopefully you give us a thumbs up. Yeah. That's fantastic too. And okay. So that's the interlude. Let's get into like some stuff. Let's get into some knit stuff. Yeah. Stuff.
So again, we're kind of for the next little while, we're kind of foregoing our regular podcast, because life is just busy right at the moment. So when we do these, we're still kind of try and go through some of the things that we would go through in a regular podcast, like what we're working on, if we've got any finishes, acquisitions. So, I mean, some people don't like seeing acquisitions. I love seeing acquisitions. Like, I love having acquisitions. too. Let's face it. I love having acquisitions, but I'm really going to try to do more knitting and not buy as much.
Do more knitting. Give up sleeping and eating. Just knit. Just knit.
Maybe. There you go.
Okay. So, all right.
Anyway.
What are we going to talk about first?
Okay. Well, I just noticed, where was it? Now I missed it. Someone was talking about a new sweater that they just got, something about butterflies. Have you heard of that one? Oh, here it is. It was Kristen. And she said she couldn't resist buying the hidden butterfly sweater today. I haven't seen it. So she has to hurry and finish what she's working on. There's a promo code for the next couple of days. So who was that by, Kristen? Have you heard of that one?
I haven't.
Kelly? I haven't heard of it. So.
Oh,
anyway.
Is that a Heidi Kiermaier? Maybe I have. Okay, we'll wait. She'll answer back.
Okay.
Beth was wondering, she's wanting to decide what to make with her holst. She has one super soft, one titty-cock at a hole together, and she wants to know it will be similar to a sport 23 stitches or a DK 18 stitches. So I used Coast, didn't I? You're right. That would be closer to a DK. It would be, for sure.
The Coast would be.
Yeah.
When I double the super soft, the last sweater I knit was the one by Beth McDonald Stone, and I was getting 18 stitches with it doubled.
But she has titty-cock, which is going to be.
Oh, okay. It's lighter.
It's lighter than a super soft. Weight. So that's why I'm saying I think definitely a DK more so than a sport. I think you'll get a DK out of those two strands held together. So really, there's all kinds of DK sweaters out there.
I think, and I was watching a podcast, and it was like, I can't remember the podcast, but they were saying that, I mean, here I am saying you should do a swatch, but the best thing to do is to swatch with your yarn, see what the fabric's like, see what you like, and then try to find a pattern that matches that particular gauge, as opposed to trying to make a pattern, trying to pick a pattern, saying I'm going to do it in this yarn and trying to make it fit. So if you want to do that, you still need to know kind of what you want the fabric to be like. And if what you're getting for your fabric is a whole lot different than the gauge in the pattern, then you actually need to do some math in order to make it work. Mm-hmm. But I think to me, the most important thing is I have to like the fabric.
I know, I do too. And we joke a lot about swatches, but I probably do swatch more than you do. I actually do swatch, but I'm particular about the fabric of my knitting. So I like to find where it's going to sit, and then I can do the math to make it fit to the pattern that I want to do. Like when I cast on this sweater last week, I actually swatched. Now, I don't make the big swatch. I don't always block it because I'm impatient. I want to see what I'm working on and then just go for it. So I'm not a good example of what a swatcher should be. Do what I do. Do what we say, not what we do.
I'm not averse to ripping something out if I don't like it.
Right. Yes. And so it has to be like what you're prepared to do, what you're prepared to give up if it's not working out for you. I had a little moment with this sweater. I like patterns. For me, a good pattern will tell you the measurements. So for instance, like a yoke depth, sleeve circumferences. I like to see all the measurements of a sweater so I know where I'm hitting. And this sweater had some short rows in the back and no short rows in the front, obviously. So it said that I needed to be at 8.5 inches, and I wasn't quite finished my knitting, and I measured and I'm like, well, I'm going to be blowing way over 8.5 inches, but I was measuring at the back and I didn't read the sticky little part that said measure at the front, because I immediately went to where I had like my beginning of row. And actually it said to measure from the center of the neck. And so then when I measured that, I'm right on. So crisis averted, no ripping out there. I could just keep on knitting. So yeah.
So back to the pattern, the hidden butterflies. It is by Kimberly Makealongs. And there was Sarah had a comment here that said that it's really pretty pattern. It's all over lace. So I'm gonna have to look that up.
Nice.
So,
nice. Nice.
So okay, so I'm just looking through what some of the other comments were here.
Kathy had a question. I'll put this one up. Do you need to pre-wash the yarn when holding it double with Titicaca? No. I have not ever had an issue with the spinning oils. I know that that has been a talked about topic, and I don't believe, Noelle, I don't think you do either, do you? No. We just go for it.
The only time I think I would really pre-wash a yarn, well, for me, would be if it was an indie dyed and it was a really vibrant, deep color, and I was putting it with something else that maybe had cream or white or something in it. I might pre-wash it then, just to kind of lessen the possibility of bleeding into the other colors. So.
Oh, and Sue's actually making the ranunculus with the coast and the Titicaca. Oh, Sue, you are going to love it. You are. That's all I have to say. You're going to absolutely love it. It might be, is it? It might be my favorite sweater. It really might be. The way it feels, the softness. And so now I didn't cast on this sweater this week. I'm still deciding. But maybe this week I'll cast it on. I had very little knitting time. All right.
Okay. So I guess first I'll just mention what I'm wearing. Okay. So this is the Maple Buds. It is by Natalie V. And I know I put this in here somewhere, but of course I'm never going to be able to find it. Or maybe I didn't. Anyways, it's Maple Buds by Natalie V. This is done in Anzula Breeze. Anzula Breeze is a lace weight yarn, and it is a blend of linen and silk. And I love this sweater. Like again, here I go to try and stand up. I need to have a little footstool there that I can stand on so you can see. But it's just got, the sweater's really cute. It's just got like a little flounce at the bottom. So it just kind of hangs. I don't know. I really like it. And it was one skein. Like the lace had 750 yards or meters in it. And this was on a 3¼ millimeter needle, and it took one skein, and it weighs like 100 grams.
So it's a lace weight.
Yes.
It's a lace weight. Yes.
Yeah. But it was a fun pattern to knit. There's some options in the pattern too that you can actually make the sleeves fluttery, but I think, the bottom's fluttery, the sleeves are fine just like this. And I love the color, and it's not pink.
I love the color. That's a gorgeous summer color. It's not a lemon, it's not a lime. It's kind of that.
Yep.
We could just call you a little tart.
I think it was called kiwi.
Key lime?
It's actually what kiwi.
Oh, kiwi. Okay.
Kiwi. So
I'd rather just call you a little tart. You're a little tart. I always say that to Mike. I love key lime pie. I like, any.
Me too.
I like that tang. Mike,
but
is
this
more
does
of a
look like
guy.
A key lime pie.
It does, and I always say, who doesn't love a little tart, right? Okay, Kim is talking about. Just a minute. I'm trying to keep up with times here because I don't know if anybody noticed, but I actually went in and I time-stamped last week. So if anybody enjoyed that, I'll do it again this week. Kim was talking about, she said, if you like the ranunculus, check out the pattern, and I hope we're saying it right, Summer Noose by Elsbeth Judith. She's knitting it right now. Well, hey, guess what, Kim? So are we.
So are we.
I was going to put it on a cord to show you. I brought pony cord. I do have the picture and the name of the pattern in here too.
I know. I'm looking for it. You keep talking. I'll find it.
So we found out about the pattern from Julia. She had been away with some friends on a girls' weekend, and they all cast on that sweater. And she was showing off the what they were working on, showing, how they were making out on their progress. And I fell in love with it. And I decided I also needed to have one. And then the next thing I know,
we didn't even know that we had both cast it on.
No, Noelle's got it cast on too. So this is a picture of the sweater. And the pattern is, I think we said Elsbeth Judith. And that sweater, isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. So I can't remember what Julia is making hers in, but when I met her on Saturday for coffee, it looks amazing, and it's super, super soft. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn that she's using. I'm sure she'll type in what she's using.
I
And
think she's using Sand and Scar Lean.
yes,
Or
she is.
Yes.
Is it Lena?
Lena.
Line? Okay. But yes, that's exactly what she's using. As soon as you said it, I thought, I know what she's using. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you got yours there?
Yep.
I was just going to put mine on this little pony cord
Okay.
here so we can look at it a little bit better.
So here is mine so far. So I actually, one of our viewers, she had left a message on the last video and was saying that she'd finished hers, and I saw it on Ravelry and it was absolutely beautiful. That was Isabel. It was beautiful, and she had done like a contrast in between the different pattern sections, and I just thought, okay, so I really want to try that. And I had the white that I'm using is Juniper Moon Farms Zoe, which is a cotton linen blend. And then I thought, well, what do I have? I want something that's kind of got like a little bit of luster or something to it. So I'm actually using, I find it here, some of my hand spun. So this was a braid that I got from Three Dog Knit. So it's 3DK, and this is a BFL silk blend. And it's hard to see the sheen on here, but it's kind of like, it's got pinks, purples, corals, and it does have a little bit of sheen. So I'm just putting it in between all of the different stitch patterns. Now, the Zoe is a little bit thinner than the recommended yarn for the pattern. So I'm getting stitch gauge okay, but I'm not getting row gauge. So I'm just adding to my pattern sections and putting a few more rows into each of the different pattern sections. And I'll do the same thing in the body and it'll be fine. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to do the short sleeves or whether I'm going to do like just like down to here. It'll depend how much of the Zoe that I've got left. But it's such a fun knit. It's such a fun knit. And the way the neck is right now, like I love the way the neck looks when you put it on, and I'm just really happy with it, and I'm really like knitting it. So Kelly, what about yours?
And then I'm using the drop spell. I mean, very nearly just had a knitting crisis. I popped the cord onto the needle and then promptly started to pull the stitches off on the other needle, which is a big no-no. I'm just trying to find the back of it here. There we go. So this is mine. So it's in drop spell, which is a cotton linen. Just looking for the 53% cotton, 14% linen, not a lot of linen, and 33% viscose. But it's pretty soft. And you've knit a sweater recently in it, and you liked it. And so I thought I had a couple of sweater quantities in it. This is a really, really, really inexpensive yarn. But I really like it. So I've got this navy blue going on. I thought it would look nice. I do have a white dress, some white pants, or even just a pair of faded jeans. I thought it was really pretty, but I love this sort of like Gansey-like stitch, right? It's really, really pretty. So far that's what I have left. I'm 2 balls deep, and I'm a few rows away from splitting for the sleeves. So, but I'm really, really happy with it. Really happy. So
what I did I wore my sweater that I made in that this weekend, and it was someone gave me the correct pronunciation. So I've been saying Ilha, it's Ilya.
Ilya, yes.
Ilya, and it means island. But anyways, I wore it this weekend when I went to the knitting loft, and as what I thought might happen too was the neck kind of stretched out. So I've got enough yarn left. I am going to go back in and I'm going to pick up and I'm going to do a neckband just to kind of hold it on the shoulders a little bit better.
Okay.
Like I didn't really mind where it was, but it was starting to get a little bit looser than I liked. So I am going to go in and I'm going to do that with.
I haven't tried this one on yet, so I don't know if it will stretch. I mean, it can't get. I don't know that it can get too much bigger, but I will try it.
Well, I think there was an option in that. I don't know if there's an option in that to go in and do a neckband or not. I can't remember, but it's got like kind of a few purl rows at the beginning, right, for the neckband.
It does. And like, I wouldn't be opposed to going in. I had this problem once before with the sweater, and I just went in and I did a stabilizer row with crochet. And I think you could almost do that in here if you needed to, but I think it'll be okay. And I figure if it does stretch out too much, then, you
Well,
know,
the thing
just
is
be
when you
like
go,
that
when you
80s
wash
flash
it,
dance
but,
theme.
and when you wash it, it kind of
It'll
goes
shrink
back
right
in
back.
too. Yeah. So Julia was
Julia,
saying that the
okay.
bell is the same composition as the sand and scarn yarn. So,
Yes.
and this is what the Zoe looks like. And it is, the composition of this is 60% cotton, 40% linen. So it does feel really nice. Like, I think when you've got cotton and linen together, it kind of softens up the feel of the linen a little bit. Because a lot of times linen, especially when you're first working with it before it's been washed a lot, actually feels kind of stiff and ropey. But with the cotton in it, it feels a lot better.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm. Okay.
So that was one WIP. So I do have, and that, well, this is, I have made some progress on this one. So
Still
this
hard
is
to see this week.
I know it's still, well, it's never going to get less bright.
Nope.
So this is the Moonlight Tea by Knitting for Breakfast. And it is done in Kelborn Woolens Perennial. This color is called Neon Pink. And I've just finished the first skein.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how much yardage is in it. There's like 490, I can't remember if it's meters or it's either 490 meters or 490 yards, but amazing yardage in it, because like I'm already at the point where like it's not going to be a really long top. So I know I'm going to have the option of doing my sleeves like 3/4 length, or so again, I'll decide that once I get closer. But I love doing the pattern. So what I did, so I got this much done from the underarm because I made myself work on that in the drive to Toronto. I thought, you're not working on anything else. You have to do that, because I know when I get to this part where it's the boring part, it takes me a lot longer. So, but anyway, but that's a composition of alpaca, silk, and nylon. So I'm thinking if I've got leftover, you could almost do socks on that, because it's got the nylon in it.
Yeah,
so I could do
no
little
reason why you
shorty socks, and my feet could glow in the dark too. Okay, so that's my second WIP. Do you have a WIP?
I do.
Okay.
Again, I did not get a lot of knitting time in, so I worked on the sweater. But what I did get done, I showed these last week. These are the Estelle twin socks. And this week, well, on the weekend, I guess, I got the heel put in. So I'm doing a Flegel heel, which I really like that construction. For me, it fits. I have a really high instep, so it fits the my arches really well. But it looks like this from the back. Let's see. It just kind of comes up in a wedge, like that. And so I really like them. These are supposed to be a giveaway for somebody else. I don't know. I really like them. Did I say I really like them? I really like them. So we'll see. We'll see if they get given away. But it was bought for somebody else, so I should. But we'll see. I really like it. I love how it has this tiny little bit of marling in the yarn. Good. I really like it.
It's pretty.
So that's what I got done on socks, and that's it for me for knitting this week.
Joy said that I need to wear that neon pink sweater when we go to yarn festivals. That way I'll never get lost. My friends will be able to find me.
Yeah, we're looking for a hot pink little tart.
Yeah, that's right. Can we have an acronym for that? An HPLT.
HPLT, please.
Anyways, and Natalie says that's her. I talk about the boring part. That's her favorite part.
The round.
Well, I just mean it's the part. The boring part is the part that you can take to coffee shop knitting. Obviously, I can't do it on KnitChat, but you can take it to coffee shop knitting, or you can knit it in the car somewhere where you can just go round and round and not have to think about it. But I really like the interesting parts. So, okay.
Speaking of Natalie, speaking of Natalie, I've got her mug tonight. Oh, this is our friend Natalie of Remembrance's Pottery. But if you don't follow Natalie, if you're on Instagram and you don't follow Natalie, you need to, because she has been pumping out, like she's been known for her knitting mugs, but now she's pumping out these like super sweet little summer mugs. And she's got some coming out, and they have like the dandelion. It's a seed pod. Yeah, it's a seed. No, when the dandelions turn to fluff, the fuzz balls. Yeah. They're
Yep.
so pretty. Such pretty mugs. So that's Remembrances Pottery. She's on Instagram. You got to check her out.
And Natalie, I am actually doing a test knit for Natalie for she's come up with a children's version of her last year's Merry Mints, and it's called Mini Mint.
Mini Mints. Oh.
So, but I am going to get started on that this week, Natalie. I wanted to get my sweater finish that I was doing for Little Red Mitten, and I just finished it this morning. So I will be getting started on the Mini Mint. So yeah, and you guys should check out Natalie's patterns. Her Christmas sweater pattern is amazing. So
she's our sock colorwork queen.
Yes,
she makes great patterns.
Well, and sweater colorwork. So
yes.
Okay, so when I was at the Knitting Loft, I decided that I needed to make Penelope a couple more things because I've only made her one romper so far. So I thought, well, I should do her another little summer romper because it's hard for a summer baby, right? Yeah, I don't want to make wool sweaters, or I'll make them when we get into the cooler weather. So I'm going to show you this pattern that I found on this pattern that I found on Ravelry. So this is called the Jasmine Romper.
I love that.
It is by, I've got a banner because I knew I'd never remember. It is by Maria Atencia, and she is Manolita Knits. So, wow. And I just thought it was so cute, and I knew that would keep my interest in it that front because I thought it was really pretty. So when I finished I
think little rompers are just the perfect amount of fancy knitting.
Yeah.
I think we should make rompers.
For us. Well, Zoe wants that little romper with the rainbows on it in the worst way.
Oh, it's so cute.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's a really cute pattern. Oh, now I have to go in and take this off. And it's giving me a hard time, Kelly. What do I have to do here?
Hide.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. So this is the yarn I picked out at the Knitting Loft. So this is Rowan's Summer Light DK. This color is called something blush, coral blush, I think. And I loved the color. So this is the DK. It's 100% cotton, but it's so soft. So there's.
Oh, it's done.
No, it's not done. But there's what I got done so far. And it's so much fun. It's got the little baubles in it, and it's got like some cabling and lace. And then the back's just plain. So that'll be, but it's little. So I'll
That's
work
adorable.
that out fast.
It's
but
absolutely
isn't that cute?
Adorable.
Like
yes.
I just so much fun. I was sitting outside knitting that today, and so much fun knitting it. Anyway.
It's just the perfect amount of little knitting.
Yeah. So it is, okay, so the designer is Spanish, okay? The pattern isn't English. However, when you go in, sometimes when you get a pattern and it's been translated, like everything doesn't always translate the best. And one thing about this pattern that I figured it out, but it was a little bit confusing. Like some of the symbols are not what we expect the symbols to be. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how when you've got knit two together or SSK, like usually the knit two together, you've got like a line going this way, and the slip knit, you've got a line going the other way. Mm-hmm. Well, this had a different symbol for it, like a greater than or less than sign. So in my mind, because I'm so used to the others, it's hard to get used to that. And then the cables, it was a 6-stitch cable, but they only had the cable symbol over 4 stitches.
Oh.
So that was, when I was doing it, was a little bit confusing because I knit the one before, and then I thought, well, how can I do a 6-stitch cable into 4 stitches? But I figured it out, and it's working out. Yeah. Because it's one of those cables where you have to hold 2 in the front, 2 in the back, knit from the needle, knit from the back, knit from the front.
Okay.
And with the cotton yarn, I actually what I'm using to do it is another circular needle, and I'm putting the stitches for the front on that, the stitches from the back on the other. Because
that would be a little tricky. Yeah,
the cotton yarn is slippery. Mm-hmm. So it's not like working with a woolly yarn where the stitches will just kind of stay there.
Yeah,
but there's not that many cables in it. No.
Nice.
And again, the little baubles were a little bit, the way they had it worded were a little bit confusing. But then once you figured it out, it was fine. But I love it. I can see doing more of those. And I think the pattern maybe went up to like 24 months. I'm just doing the pattern gauge was 26 stitches, and this is a DK yarn. So I'm actually getting about 24, but I'm doing the newborn size. So then that'll fit her for about 1 to 3 months. So hopefully for the summer. And that's going to look amazing with her dark hair.
So cute. So cute.
And it matches, look at that. It matches my bag. Like how perfect. Like it was just meant to be. So this is my bag from J. Hendry. And I'm really loving this color lately. Like it's not pink. It's not pink.
No, but it's in the pink family. It's in the pink family. It's not pink. No, it's not pink. It's not pink.
So that was my last whip. Now I'm going to do a little bit of bragging about my daughter-in-law, because my daughter-in-law, Rachel, just finished her first sweater. So
very brag-worthy. Very brag-worthy.
It is. So I'm going to pull up a photo here and I'm going to show you Rachel's sweater. There we go. And that's my granddaughter, Isla, modeling it. So this is a sweater that Rachel, it's actually a present for Penelope, the new baby, which it's not going to fit her for a little while, but it's nice to have things that they can grow into.
Yes.
And so this is Isla modeling it. And this is the Lil Dahlia. And again, I'll bring that up on a banner. It's the Lil Dahlia Solo. And that is by Lean Home Samsoy. And she's the one that I did the peacock solo sweater from. Like her patterns are really pretty. So this pattern, when you buy this pattern, it actually comes with, it's got like the pullover, it's got a cardigan, it's got a romper, it's got a dress, like really cute. I think I actually, let me go in here and I put in a picture of the pattern. Just got to find it.
Does Isla know she doesn't
so
get
there's
to,
all that she doesn't get to
does
keep it?
Does Isla know that she doesn't get to keep it? She looks pretty comfortable in it.
That's Rachel's job. That's Rachel's job. So here's the versions on the pattern, right? So you can do the short sleeve, or it's got the long sleeve, and you can do a cardigan. It's got the romper, and it's got a little dress.
A dress at the back. I love that little dress too.
Yeah. So lots of options with the pattern. And Rachel did hers in Drops Baby Merino, which is a fingering weight yarn. And I felt it, like I've seen it. It's super soft. It's really nice yarn.
Soft like
so anyway, so congratulations, Rachel. That's awesome. That's amazing for your first sweater. And now that you've done a sweater that's a kid's sweater, you could knit.
No different to do an adult sweater.
That's right. No different.
No different at all. No different at all.
But yeah, so anybody that's thinking about doing your first sweater, just try it. You just got to go in there and do it. You have to not think I can't do it. You got to think I can do it. It's only one stitch at a time. You only have to worry about one stitch at a time.
There's just longer instructions. It's no different than doing a small project like a sock or anything else. You're still reading the instructions. So now you're just reading more instructions and do what the pattern tells you to do. You'll get there. And if you get stuck, there's help. There's always help. Sharon says that the summer news, and I really hope that we're pronouncing that correctly. So if we're not, and somebody knows the right pronunciation, please drop us a note so that we just don't keep saying something wrong. But
well, I do know that it means summer hug. We could just call it summer hug.
Summer hug. Well, there we go. We could do that. I like that. I can't wait to wear mine. It's going to feel like a summer hug. So Sharon's making that, and that will be her second sweater. So congratulations. That's great. Great.
It is fun. It's fun. It's nice when you've got different stitch patterns so you don't get bored, and each little section is not that long either. So yeah, it's fun.
It's like a sampler sweater.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Yep. You just do, 6 to 8 rows of this pattern, and then we move on to something else. It's fun.
Like it's not a really tiny gauge.
No, it's not. No, because I'm knitting, I don't know. What are you knitting yours on? I'm on 5s. Julia's on 4.5. I know that.
I'm on a 4.
On a 4. Okay.
Yeah, but I know that I'm getting smaller. So I'm doing, I'm just making the adjustments for the size that I'm doing, because I didn't think that I would like the Zoe on a bigger needle.
Yeah.
So
I was worried about the 5, but I like it. It's good. Mm-hmm. I'm happy with it. So we're gonna hold out there. Okay, Lena is asking, what is a good beginner sweater pattern to knit? What's your answer for that one?
Flax.
Because
it's a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. It goes from baby right up till like men's extra,
Adult.
extra large,
Mhm.
like huge. Yep. There are two versions of it. There's the flax and the flax light. So the flax is done in I think it's a worsted weight, and then the flax light is done in a fingering weight. There is detail down the sleeve, like there's a garter stitch rib that goes down the sleeve. You can do that or not do it. That's totally up to you. But I think Tin Can Knits has really good instructions in it. It is a top-down sweater, so that you can try it on as you go along. So honestly, if you've got a baby or a child to knit for, I think that if you did that sweater, like in the worsted weight in a child's version, you're still going to get all the techniques and things that you would have to do in an adult sweater, but you're going to go through it faster, learn the techniques, and be ready to move into the adult sweater. Whereas if you do an adult sweater first and you do one it's a lot of knitting at the bottom, well, I would get bored. But I mean, there's lots of other easy sweaters too. Becky had said here too, the super simple summer pullover by Hoagie.
Yes.
Is a really easy sweater. Again, it's yoked. Now the flax is raglan, but you do it top down. Okay, so it depends on the look that you want. But in both cases, both sweaters are knit top down. So whichever technique you're using for the yoke, whether it be like a yoke sweater or a raglan, you're going to put stitches on hold for your sleeves, and that way it's actually a better way to know whether you've got the body length of what you want. When you're doing bottom up, it's a lot harder. When you and I first started knitting, there was very few things that were top down sweaters. Almost everything was bottom up and in pieces that you had to sew together.
And it was boring as heck because you just knit the box and then you knit two big sleeve pieces and stitch them in. That was the sweater pattern. That was pretty much every pattern. And the only thing you got was some variation on the body of the sweater. I like.
Yep, we've got some other here too. Someone said their first sweater was the anchor sweater. So I guess it just depends on what your level of comfort is. Like, do you want to do something that's just plain to start with? And I mean, the thing is, even if you do something that's just plain, you could pick like a speckled yarn or a tweed yarn or something where the yarn
you can
has
knit
a
some
lot
stripes.
of interest.
You can knit some stripes into it. There are lots of things that you can do. I like this comment here too. This is great. She says that she tried a 0 to 3 month sweater as her first ever sweater. And she says, I don't know why I allowed myself to be so intimidated all these years to try garments. And I think it's just, we think we just can't do it, because then she follows up to say, I like this. It's a whole new world has opened up to me.
Right.
So that's fantastic to hear. And I really do think that's a great idea. If you're intimidated to make something for yourself, either make a small sweater if you have a little person in your life to gift it to, or summer's the perfect time because sleeves, we all gripe about the sleeves, right? Well, in the summer sweaters, you truly don't have that. So you just get to have some fun with your body shaping, your neck shaping, and then heck, you've got an inch or two and then the sweater's done. So I think sweater is the perfect time to start knitting sweaters, because then it just kind of gets you on track for our fall and winter makes.
Well, and realistically, right now, vests are in too, right?
Oh, yes.
So
I've
there's
bought
another
more yarn.
option
I've got a couple more vests set aside that I'm making.
There's another option
fall.
of doing
and then there's
getting
no
yourself
sleeves.
A garment and not have any sleeves to worry about.
That's right. So, and vests are really trendy again. Sharon, she was also making the summer hug, and she said it's so fast. She said her body is done, and she bought the yarn the day after the last show. So I think there's a few people now making it. Julia, you got the train rolling for us, and it's just an engaging pattern. We're really having fun with it.
Well, I would have picked mine up again today, except I'm just loving that little romper. And so I'm going to finish the romper first before I do anything else.
Yeah. As I said, I've not had much time to knit lately, but when I do have time, I want to pick it up. Like, I'm excited to pick it up because I know, I'm almost on to the next section and there'll be another stitch pattern to do something a little bit different. So,
so a lot of people say the super simple summer sweater. And I think if you go through and look at the projects on Ravelry, there's a lot of variation in that too, because even though it's striped, you don't have to do it striped. You could do it in a solid yarn. And again, I think you can change up the length of the sleeves. And there's always, if you're doing something and you run into difficulty, there is always a tutorial. If you just go into YouTube and you type in whatever it is that you're having trouble with, it'll bring up, like, I don't think I've ever put anything in that I haven't found at least
Somebody else has had the same problem.
That's right.
That's what you are not alone. Trust me. If you're having a problem, I guarantee somebody else has had it too. And
That's right.
you'll be able to get some help on it.
Yeah.
Or you can ask us. We'll try to help. Or there's
Yep.
so many knowledgeable knitters in this group on Tuesday nights that there's going to be lots of help there too. Cricket has a great idea. She says that she had a teacher tell her to knit what she liked best of all, because then she said you would want to work on it because you loved it right from the start. So don't just hang on to something thinking it's above me, I can't do it. Just dive in, make the things.
Yep.
That's what I say. Be fearless in your knitting. You can do it. You got it.
And Brenda says no frills or Millie, and no frills definitely is just a plain basic. I think it's raglan pullover, and then the Millie. I know that one because I know I've got it favorited. I think it might have been 3/4 sleeves, but again, because it was one that I think I might do in slub. So, okay. But yeah, those are good options too. So.
Oh, and Natalie's saying that Little Cotton Rabbits has tiny sweater patterns for stuffies. So same techniques, but very quick knit. And I know that that is actually the way quite a few knitting instructors teach a sweater making class. Is when you go to the class, you're not going there to knit a sweater. You're going there to knit a sweater.
A
little tiny sweater.
Because you get all the techniques.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and a teeny tiny sweater.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So what else have you got going on?
Did you have any finished objects?
I did, but it's not knitting. I did.
Okay. Well, that doesn't matter. It's still a finished object.
I'm trying to get some things cleared up. I have some fabric that I owe somebody a couple of bags for, and I've not made any bags for the shop this year. I'm not going to at this point, but I've got some other sewing sitting on my table, and I want to get to the bottom of the table. And I've got a couple of projects sitting there for myself too. And I'm saying I can't do my projects until I have everything else off that table. So I finished this week, speaking of rompers, I finished this for Mr. Miles.
That's cute.
So it's a little cotton romper, and it's stretchy cotton. So I like that idea too.
Yeah.
And then just a little jersey t-shirt for him to go with. And I love that it's all the little bugs patterns in there as well. And it's, excuse me. I'm looking for.
Oh, the Brindle and Twig.
There we go. So it's a pattern by Brindle and Twig. And I love them for children's clothes. I've only, basically just started making children's clothes again because my kids are long grown, but now that I have Miles. So this is the pattern. It's pattern number 087, Summer Romper. And again, it comes in all sizes. When you buy a pattern, I think they go from infant up to, well, this one only goes up to a size 2 to 3 because I don't think, you're not going to go much older and still wear something like this. But when you buy like their little pants and shirts patterns, they go all the way up, I believe, to a 6T. So good value for your money, and the patterns are not expensive. I think they range from like $8 to $10, and they have a few free patterns as well. So I highly advocate if you make some children's clothes. Well, if you make children's clothes, you already know about this. But if you don't make children's clothes and you want to start making a few clothing pieces for grandchildren or some of your own children, then highly recommend Brindle and Twig. Patterns are really well written. There's also tutorials for most of their patterns, and Miles just looks super cute in everything I've made him so far. So I say go for it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mary says she thought of you today because she went into her fabric store and she's actually thinking about starting to make herself some clothes. That's awesome, Mary.
It is. There's something, okay, as knitters, we know how good we feel when we put that sweater on that we made with these two hands, right? We just feel amazing. And it's the same thing for sewing. When you, of course, I have nothing on tonight but my Old Navy Love t-shirt. When you put something on that you made for yourself, you just feel so good. You feel like $1 million in it. And then especially if somebody notices it and they comment on it, they're like, oh, where did you get it? Well, I made it myself. Just like we feel when we get comments about our sweaters and socks and hats and mitts and all the good things. And there's something to be said too for slower fashion, something that you're taking your time to make, something that you treasure, something that you cherish. and that you'll have for a long period of time, and that you'll get lots of joy out of wearing. And
Yep.
it's just as fun to make something, like I find for myself, as it is to make something and give away. So
yeah, and Sharon says, and me made clothes fit better. And that's like, I know I should make some because I'm not very tall. I do find it difficult a lot of times to go out
really,
and find
I've never noticed
things that actually fit, like a dress that's the length that I want it to be, or pants that I don't have to hem before I wear them. And yeah, so, but I don't know. I don't know if I can have one more hobby that I collect stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Mm-hmm.
see. So I sewed when the kids were younger, and I sewed a lot of my maternity clothes because I couldn't find
Me too.
any, but
Me too.
I don't enjoy it like I enjoy knitting. So
I love it when I'm doing it, but I find it takes me longer to get myself in the mindset of come downstairs, take an afternoon, sit down to sew. With knitting, I mean, we're used to having our knitting at our fingertips all the time.
Yep.
Sewing for me takes more of a conscious effort of setting aside time. It isn't just something I would pop into and say, oh, I have 20 spare minutes, I'm going to run down and do something.
Exactly.
It's something that I
That's
want
right.
to sit down for several hours. And
so you've kind of got to plan out a bigger chunk of time.
I do. So I've been trying to mindfully make the time again, because time has been a precious commodity for me as of late. So it's been really hard to carve out the time. But I had started those rompers a while ago, and I had the jersey to make the t-shirt. The t-shirt doesn't take much time, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I need to finish these things. So there was a question in here. Ramona asks, she said that her 14-year-old daughter is starting to sew. And she says, do you think a beginner can handle their patterns? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. And if she's struggling at all with reading of the pattern, as I said, there's tutorials. And I know everybody learns things differently. Some people like to read and they can pick up from that, and other people learn by seeing. And so you have both options. And by the time I was 14, I was an avid sewer. My mom is a fantastic sewist, and she taught me how to sew at a young age. And this was back in the day. I know we've talked about this before, but where we actually had home ec in school, and we sewed. And, you know, we were sewing some like simple and basic things. You know, there was an apron, I think, you know, some simple things. By the time I got to that class, I was, I remember going around the class and helping all of the other kids as well, because I was so far beyond that from what my mom had taught me. But today, I mean, my gosh, we've got an entire YouTube full of moms out there that are ready to help us out to do anything we want to do. So, and Kim's talking about quilting, and she says she used to quilt, and quilting is another rabbit hole to fall down. And I love to quilt, but for me, that's kind of more of a wintry project that I like to do when I'm stuck inside a little bit more. And okay, one more sewing question in here. What sewing machine do I use? I have a Janome, and I can't see the number. I think
you have a serger too, right?
I have a serger as well. And I'm actually in the process of shopping for a cover stitch machine. And the cover stitch is what creates that sort of double-edged hem that you get at t-shirt sleeves, where everything is tucked in really nicely underneath. And so then I'll have 3 machines on the go, but I have lots of space down here, and I have lots of table room, and I'm at a certain age where I guess I can afford it now. And they are like the little pleasures in life that I wouldn't have been able to have when I was younger and making the kids their clothes. So I'd like to think someday soon I'll have the time. Yes.
Yeah, technology is changing all the time too, that they come out with. Like back when we did sewing in home ec, there were no sergers. Not anything that was like available just for like home use. So so you collect sewing machines, and I collect like looms and spinning wheels. And
I still
don't have room for everything.
I still have the original sewing machine that I used when the kids were little, and it is over 30 years old. It still works like a charm. It is also a Janome. The only thing it does not do, and this is how I jumped into the more expensive computerized model, is because I guess it's a little gear or something for when I go and I back stitch, it just doesn't want to engage and go back. But I mean, as long as you don't need to turn around to go backwards, it sews forward. It just hums along. They're a fantastic machine, but the new one I'm having a lot of fun with too. So Yeah. Okay. So that's the sewing section
Okay.
of the knit podcast
Of the knit, the
of the Knit
craft
Cafe. What did
Okay,
you
so
finish this week?
I finished the Metamorphic. I just finished it this morning.
Did.
So it still has to be blocked, and then I will be dropping it off at Little Red Mitten. So this is the Metamorphic by Andrea Mowry. I did this one in Noro Silk Garden Solo and Noro Silk Garden Solo Sock and Noro Silk Garden Sock. The Solo Sock is the one that comes, it's this gray here. So the gray is kind of like a all over color with just little blips of different colors. And then the Noro Silk Garden Sock is where you get all the different striping. So yeah, so I'm happy that it's done. It was actually getting the sleeves done was a bit of a chore, simply because it's gotten so hot now that it's a lot of weight to have in your lap when you're doing the sleeves. But you know, like I said, once I get the first sleeve done, I don't have a problem getting the second sleeve done, because everything's all marked out where you have to put the decreases, and I know exactly how many rows I'm going to do in the cuff, so it just seems to go a lot faster. So the detail in this sweater is basically you knit it inside out. So you can see, even though this is reverse stocking stitch, because of the way it's done with the striping, it really doesn't look like that.
No, not at all.
Like, it really doesn't look like regular reverse stocking stitch, but like if you can see on the inside, so there's the inside with the stripes. But it really doesn't look, I mean, other than you get more texture, it really doesn't look, I really like how it looks, because, and I don't normally like.
Can you wear it? Could you wear it inside out?
Well, other than the fact that I knit the yarns together when I combine these. So there's still places where I have like the little tails, right? Where you've joined in. So if you hid those really well, because you could probably hide a lot of them in your, in this slip stitch detail. And then, you might be able to wear it. But then you've also got to look at your underarm, right? Because of the underarm.
Yes. Yeah.
But the way they tell you to do it, like, it's really cool. The underarm detail really goes really smoothly, like from the way it just continues down the inside of the sleeve.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
And she tells you how to do that so that you pick it up so that you still see like your striping detail, and then you've got kind of like a seamless join here where your slip stitch goes down. So just like, and it's just such a simple little detail, but the slip stitch really gives it just kind of a nice finishing touch. So your slip stitch goes down. I'm still amazed
at how much I love that sweater, and it just totally did not catch my eye
compared to the one that,
yeah.
And then again, so you've got that slip stitch going down the outside of the sleeve, and then it also goes down the underarm. It's if you look at her pattern, the picture, I don't know, maybe it's because it doesn't have as much contrast. I don't know why, but yeah, you might not look at it. But if you look at a lot of the variations in Ravelry, like a lot of the yarns that people have chosen to use, it's gorgeous. So, and using the Noro, the Silk Garden Solo and the Silk Garden Sock is a whole lot more affordable than using Spin Cycle. I mean, Spin Cycle is a beautiful yarn, but it's not within everybody's budget.
Or this is not even just that it's in their budget. It's just, I may not want to spend that much on a sweater, because
well, that's right. That's right.
I might want to have 3 sweaters for the price of that one.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So Mary's asking, did you knit it inside out?
Yes.
So yes.
I did.
Yes. So, and I've been enjoying reading the comments as you were showing the sweater too. Everybody's in here talking about their sewing machines, what they have, what they've inherited from their moms, what was passed down to them. And I think that's really nice too. I really like that idea that you can, machines, if they're taken care of, they don't wear out. So it would be fun to have something passed down that, that somebody spent so much time working with. Yeah. Okay. Well, so do you have some,
did you buy anything did you acquire anything? Did you acquire anything?
Tiny paltry amount compared to what you're going to roll out with. But I wanted to show this, and I'm glad that Sarah's in here, because I know that she bought the same. So this is not a new acquisition. This is the Leo and Roxy, and I've shown this before. This is their linen silk blend, 65% silk, 35% linen. And it's a good size skeins, 490 yards in here. And this is the colorway Parchment, which looks suspiciously like the sweater I just finished. I realized that. But okay, so here's the acquisition part is I got mohair this week. Drops Kid Silk mohair was on sale for 30% off. So I stocked up on a couple of very basic colors, just went in and grabbed something. Well, pleasantly surprised when one arrived. And this one, of course, there's no names on here. So I honestly,
No, I know.
this one might be
You only get-
called Almond, maybe. But okay, here's the thing. Check this out. Look at that. It's exactly the same parchment-y tone. And this is showing up brighter on screen than it actually is. It's because of the LED lights in front of me. But I think this would be good. This could be a floodlight tee. This could be something else with mohair. I don't know. I think it's the perfect match.
Yep. So that the Leo and Roxy, the linen silk, that is the exact same composition as what I'm wearing.
Okay.
The Anzula Breeze, except for it is the fingering weight and this is the lace weight. But it's the same. I looked at the compositions, like the percentages. It's exactly the same. And this feels amazing. You will
Mary
love
says
knitting
these
with
aren't
it.
acquisitions. These are condiments.
That's
And we know
right,
that.
Condiments.
And
unfortunately,
then
mine are all acquisitions.
the second color that I got, again, I don't know the color. I know one is called Almond, and I just keep thinking it's got to be this first one that I showed you. So this is the second one. And it's just a very light caramel-y color, which would go good with any of my Holst. Like there's cinnamon, there's ember. I've got some beiges that it would go with. I've got quite a few colors. So I bought, I think 8 skeins of each of these colors. Those are my only acquisitions. So pretty tame
Brenda,
week for me.
Brenda, the sweater that I'm wearing, that you're showing. Are you showing a sweater? Oh, sorry. This one? This is Metamorphic by Andrea Mowry, if that's what you were talking about, Brenda. But yes, this is Metamorphic. So, okay. So actually what I'm going to show you is I was actually at the Knitting Loft twice. So this wasn't just from one time. I just want to say that this was twice. So I think last week I showed you I was making the Pretty Young Thing socks with the Scrumptious Pearl yarn. So I had Ross pick out a color for him. So this is the color that he picked.
Ross picked that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why?
That's a bright color.
It's called Lemon Sour. I know I seem to be like all into
There's
that,
a tardy
the
theme.
breaks.
There's a tardy theme going on this week.
Yeah. So anyway, I love it.
I love it too.
I think it's going to look amazing. Well, and one of the girls that was working in the shop, she had finished a pair for her husband in this, and she brought up the picture and showed him. So yeah, so he really liked that.
I like it.
Okay, so that was from. I'll show you this week's trip first. So there was also the Rowan Summer Light DK that I got to do the little romper. Yes. Okay, and then I'm also going to make a little dress for Penelope.
Sarah's saying, by the way, the Knitting Loft has a bunch of stuff on clearance. Just saying. I looked at it, Sarah. I did. That's nice.
So these are the colors that I'm going to use. I'm going to do the little flower dress by Pernell Larson, who is knitting for Olive. So this yarn is by Camera Rose. It is called Yaku, and it is 100%. And this is superwash merino. And I thought for the baby things, I'd rather have it be able to be washed.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Rather than the,
absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what the colors are, but the dress is so pretty. That's going to be the main color. And then it's got it's going to have little crocheted flowers that go on it in this color. And then so the little stems going up to the flowers. So,
wow.
So I probably will do that so it fits like more into the fall, winter. Okay. And then before I went there, I knew that I wanted to look at this particular yarn. And this is Momonoki. And I had to ask one of the salespeople, I'm like, where's that monarchy yarn? And he goes, oh, you mean Momonoki? yeah, that's what I mean.
Did he say, do you even knit?
That's right. So this is Momonoki, and it is their Rami silk. So this,
what are you doing with that color? That's a Kelly color. I've never seen you knit with that color. I love that color.
This is it's looking more gold. It's not. It's more green.
Okay.
So it is 60% non-superwash wool, 20% silk, and 20% ramie. And ramie is kind of like a silk fiber. It's a plant fiber, but it's got that sheen to it. So
It's
this
beautiful.
is, yeah, I really like
Absolutely
it. And I love the
gorgeous.
feel of it. So I got enough of that to do like, I'll probably be able to do like a 3/4 sleeve sweater. So that was, when it was got good yardage, so I only had to get 2 skeins of that. So this is the next one that I got. So
Very
this is
nice.
Magpie, but this is their Nest Sport. So it is 100% non-superwash Corriedale. And I just, the squish on this, like the Corriedale is just
Hold it up to the camera so we can all squish it.
there, squish, squish, squish. It's so nice. I love it. This color is called Twilight Whisper. Okay, I mean, they could have got me in the name. They didn't even have to say that it was. But I really wanted to do a whole sweater in Corriedale, and I really, I like this. And it was still expensive. But when you do a sport weight sweater, you don't need quite as much. You don't need as many skeins of yarn as if you were going to knit like a worsted or an Aran weight. Mm-hmm, so then, even though it's more expensive, you can get away with fewer skeins. So that nice. Was that. And then the other thing I bought was this, and this is to go with another yarn. The other yarn that I got in Montreal, I had gotten the skein of, this is is
that the Helix?
Yes. But okay. This is just the French gray. The other skein that I've got is
it was a pinky color.
The color is Wisteria or something like that. It was the gray base, but it had like pinks and lavenders through it. So I thought, and it's a lace weight. So I thought if I hold just the plain gray with it and do a little cardigan, I'll just get the pops of the other colors. So that was what that was for. So that was everything from that trip. But I haven't showed you, that was the second trip. So the first trip, which was 2 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, or 3 weeks tomorrow. Anyways, whatever. So I got a couple of other things there. So the first is this. I really wanted to try this Gilead. Mm-hmm. So this is Durarum Natura. This, they just have color. They don't have color names on here. Well, they do, but it's not in it's not in a language. It's not in English. So I can't tell you, but it's purple. It's lavender. I think it was nice. Like thistle or something. And that's what it looks like, is thistle. So that is a worsted weight yarn. And it's 100% merino, but it's non-superwash. And then that company, Durarum Natura, just came out with this new yarn, which is called Robinson. And the Robinson is 70% wool, 28% cotton, and 2% recycled fibers. So I thought that would make that really pretty, and that color would make a really nice summer cardigan. And again, it's basically the same weight as the Gilead, although it feels a little bit lighter. So I'm thinking you could knit it like in DK to worsted, or, similar patterns. So yeah, it feels really nice. It feels really nice too.
Yeah. Good night, Glenda. Take care. Glenda's heading out.
Bye, Glenda. So this one. So this is
like
Olan, too. And this is it's milled in Ireland. This is from their Mira mill. It's ethically sourced, hand-dyed fiber, spun in Ireland. And this color is called, I don't know if it's got a name on it. Maiden. There, I'm redeeming myself. I got the tart sweater on, but now I'm going to knit with the Maiden yarn.
I think there's no redemption for you tonight.
Anyway, again, this is like a fine merino, non-superwash, and I just really wanted to try it.
Very nice.
So, and then the only other things I got a couple of new books.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I got Cumbria by Marie Wallen, and that's got beautiful, beautiful colorwork sweaters in it. And then this book that I got was really cool. It's put out by Lane Magazine, and it's Traditions Revisited. So it's Estonian Traditions Revisited, or Modern Estonian. Mm-hmm. So there's whole sections in here on different Rusamine patterns, different patterns using lateral braids. And it's just a beautiful book. I mean, all the Lane books are gorgeous books, gorgeous photography.
Oh, the photography is as beautiful as everything in there too.
So here's this Rusamine where you've got detail on the pattern and detail on the sleeves. There was one here. So you can see that on the yoke of that sweater. I don't want to show the pattern, but you can see on the yoke of the sweater.
Nice. I like that.
So yeah,
very nice.
So it's got different things like that. So I thought it was kind of neat. You can even see on the back there, there's just some Russamine technique done on the sleeve of that sweater. But there's other things in there too, like different color work things, just like some different techniques. So I thought it would be really interesting. So
I love it.
So that's it. That's it.
That's it. That's it.
That's it. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now I have to get knitting.
Lot. Yeah,
it is a
now
lot.
You have to get knitting.
It is a lot. I told Ross, that's it. I'm not going to buy anything else till Chicago.
And that's at
a month and a half.
That's a store. What's it called? Elgin Knits.
Elgin Knitworks.
Elgin Knitworks. Yes.
Yes, I think. So yeah. But you know, like I mean, honestly, I haven't been to Toronto in what, 3 years.
Well, you had never been to the. I have never been to the knitting loft. I've never been to the knitting loft. You had never been before, so.
And it was just a lot of yarns that I knew that I had read about, seen, and knew that I wanted to try. So. And it is really nice to be able to go and see it in person as opposed to ordering it online.
Yes.
Because you can see the actual color. I mean, come on, there's nothing like feeling the skein of yarn. Like there's nothing like going like, oh.
Oh, the squish. Oh, the squish.
Yeah. So
there was something.
And Ross was really good. Ross actually helped me out. I bring over colors and go,
what, carry the bags? Carry the bags of all the yarn?
No. He would say, no, I like that color better. Or I like that color better. So.
And were you like a pretty woman when you walked out of there holding your fancy bags?
No, I put the one bag. I put the one bag in the car, and then he had gone off to the Home Depot, and he had walked, and I didn't realize he'd walked because I thought he'd left, and I was waiting, and I was not really quite looking, and I thought, well, I don't have my knitting, so I'm going to buy more yarn, and then I realized the car was in the parking lot, and he had walked to the Home Depot, so then I had already picked up some more stuff that I was going to buy. So
too funny. Too funny. Yeah. So I wanted to show. I have a picture here just to pop up.
That's right, Cricket. We should have a squish cow.
Squish cow. Yeah. This is a sweater that Noelle has already knit. This is the Clay Break by Beth McDonald Stone, and we wanted to tell you that Beth McDonald Stone is having a pattern sale of 20% off all of her patterns until June 24th. Noelle, you've now knit a few of her sweaters, I think, right?
Yeah, I've knit 3, I think.
And the one that I have on my agenda for knitting, and possibly with my other sweater quantity of Belle, I'm not sure, is the Pothos Tee. And I really like that one. It has a unique pattern that goes, it's like a raglan shaping, but there's a pattern that goes down here and then carries right on down the side.
Yeah, I want to do that one too. It's pretty.
So we just wanted to point that out for you if you feel so inclined. We're not enabling. We are not enabling. But if you feel so inclined to take yourself up for a little bit of a deal, she's got this going on until June 24th. So, okay.
Okay, so we should quickly talk about some of our knit-alongs that we have going on.
Yes.
Okay, so we have our sock knit-along going on. It goes from the beginning of the year until December 31st. At the end of every month, we draw both a pattern prize that's donated by Natalie of Remembrance's Pottery, and we also draw a yarn prize. And then at the end of the year, we've got the gorgeous prize from J. Hendry Co. and Full Moon Fibers, which was a bag very similar to this, with a sock set that had colors that matched the bag. So my bag's got flowers. The bag that we're giving away is actually it's called Birds of Paradise, and it's got different birds on but very similar color combo to that. So that's for the end of the year prize. So all you have to do is finish socks, get them in there. We want to have 2,022 pairs by the end of 2022. And we are well on our way because you guys are doing an amazing job getting your socks in there.
And if you want to share them on Instagram, I've got the hashtag here below that you can share what you're knitting for your socks. Okay.
Oh, and then Marianne said she's doing the Pathos right now and she loves it.
I did see that she was doing it. She's doing it in white. I think
white, yes.
The pattern shows it in a really dark color. And the color that I have is it's like a royal purple almost. I think it will look really nice too.
I was
Okay.
thinking pink.
Of course you Noelle's rainbow is just various shades of pink. And then the other one that we have going, Noelle, is the Spark Joy Makealong.
Right. So for the Spark Joy Makealong, we just want you to make something that brings you joy, whether it's making something for yourself, for someone else, for your pet, whether even if just one aspect of it brings you joy. Like if you don't really like knitting it, but you find so much joy just in the finished object, well, then that brings you joy. And for that one, we're also going to draw from the chatter as well as from the FOs, because something can be bringing you joy long before you ever finish it. So
Absolutely.
Post what you're making in the chatter and post your finished objects in the FO thread, and just have fun knitting or making. Doesn't have to be knitting. It can be weaving. It can be crocheting, just whatever brings you joy.
Mm-hmm. And then I also wanted to point out, this is our email address down below, knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to reach out to us for any reason,
Yep.
midweek,
or even if you've got a question that you want us
if you have
to,
a question that you want us to cover,
yep,
we will do our best. And if we don't know the answer, we will try to find somebody that does know the answer for you. And but we'll give it our best effort to source that out for you. Or if there's anything that you specifically want us to talk about or to address on a knit chat, something that I don't know, maybe some type of a technique that you are interested in, or a sweater, or whatever, knitting related or sewing related. I guess I could help out a little bit with that too. Yeah. Okay. I think.
Okay. Sue says, can she enter a t-shirt quilt? For sure. Sure. T-shirt quilt for the Spark Joy. Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And someone had a question before we go. What cast off do we use for toe up socks? I use
tubular. I do
what
too.
Do you use?
Tubular for toe up. Yes.
I know a lot of people do the Jenny surprisingly stretchy. No, is that the cast on? No. Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. But the one comment that people have made about it is that it looks like it flares out. However, when you put the sock on, that's not noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I usually use the tubular.
Yeah.
That's a good fit for me.
Yeah. I use the tubular, but when you do that, make sure you do it. Make sure you're not pulling too tightly when you do it.
Right.
So
right. And
okay.
I just wanted to lastly say also down below here, these are our names on Instagram. If you don't follow us and you feel so inclined to, or you want to reach out on there too, you can catch us there through DMs, however. So, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been fun. I tell you this every week, but it is literally the highlight of my week to get this hour and 15 minutes ish to share with all of you, and just to have a little bit of me time to talk about something that I feel pretty passionate about. And definitely this is what our friendship started on with Noelle and I, who met in a knitting store, and the rest is history. But yeah, so we will be here again Tuesday of next week.
Yep.
And we'll share with you.
Oh, and happy first day of summer.
Happy summer solstice. I did. I posted that on Instagram today. This is the most minutes in a day that you will get to knit in any day of the year, because it's the longest day of the year. And every day after this is going to be a minute or two shorter. So less daylight for knitting if you knit outside. Yeah,
this is the most daylight you have to knit.
That's what I said. The most daylight knitting.
Okay.
After this, you get a minute or two less every day of daylight.
After this, you got to knit in the dark.
You got to knit in the dark, or wear your neck light.
Or this tart shirt.
A tart shirt, yes. Okay, everybody, we're being silly now. Thank you so much. And we will catch up with you all again next week.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and happy knitting.
Happy knitting.